Take your time.
I'll ever replace my husband, no. But I do see some similarities of my husband in JD, and Vice President JD Vance. I do.
Y'all, the internet is absolutely losing its mind right now because some allegedly steamy photos just surfaced involving Erika Kirk and none other than JD Vance. And let me tell you, this scandal is spreading faster than wildfire. If you clicked on this video wondering if what you heard is true, well, buckle up because things are about to get real messy real quick.
The Vice President of the United States took the stage in Oxford, Mississippi tonight. His appearance comes as Turning Point USA makes a stop on its American comeback tour.
This whole situation proves that in politics, one leaked photo can destroy everything you've worked for in seconds. And the timing? Girl, it couldn't be worse because JD Vance is literally one of the most talked about political figures right now. And Erika Kirk just got thrown into a scandal she probably never saw coming. The internet detectives are working overtime on this one. Now here's where things get really interesting. These photos didn't just randomly appear out of nowhere. Apparently, someone had been holding on to these images for a while and decided now was the perfect time to release them. And the question everyone's asking is, who leaked these photos and why now? Because let me tell you, the timing is suspicious as hell. And Erika Kirk is scrambling to do damage control while the entire internet is watching her every move. But wait, it gets even crazier because this isn't just about some photos anymore. There are rumors floating around about secret meetings, deleted text messages, and people close to both Erika and JD Vance are starting to speak out. Plus, there's allegedly more evidence that hasn't been released yet, and sources are saying what we've seen so far is just the tip of the iceberg. And you know what else? JD Vance's team has been unusually quiet about this whole thing, which is making people even more suspicious.
Oxford, Mississippi now, where Vice President JD Vance is speaking at a Turning Point USA event at Ole Miss right now. He was joined by late Turning Point USA co-founder Charlie Kirk's widow, Erika Kirk. She's also the new CEO of Turning Point USA.
Now, JD Vance, as most of y'all know, is the Vice President of the United States after winning alongside Donald Trump in the 2024 election. He's been one of the most controversial and talked about political figures, and anything involving him automatically becomes headline news. So when Erika Kirk's name got linked to his in this scandal, the media went absolutely insane.
He loved to immerse himself in the culture of the campus that he was in. And so, from word on the street, you guys have a chant out there.
Remember how we said someone leaked these photos at the most suspicious time possible? Well, it turns out Erika Kirk thought her private life was exactly that, private. But honey, in today's world, nothing stays hidden forever, especially when you're mingling with people at the highest levels of power.
No one will ever replace my husband, no. But I do see some similarities of my husband in JD, and Vice President JD Vance. I do.
One by one, different versions of these photos started appearing on social media, and it looks like whoever leaked them wanted to make sure the whole world saw them. Some sources are saying that Erika tried to get ahead of the story by reaching out to certain media outlets, but by the time she tried to control the narrative, it was already too late. The photos had already spread across Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and every other platform you can think of. That girl took one look at her phone, blowing up with notifications, and probably realized her entire reputation was about to be put under a microscope. And JD Vance? Well, his team is allegedly in full crisis mode, trying to figure out how to handle this situation without making it worse.
The West viewers, a video showing Erika Kirk, widow of slain conservative leader Charlie Kirk, embracing US Vice President JD Vance at a public event. Well, this image has ignited widespread speculation online.
In some of the photos, they're allegedly laughing and talking in a way that looks super intimate. There's one photo in particular that has everyone talking, where Erika has her hand on JD's arm and they're leaning into each other like they're sharing secrets. Another photo shows them in what looks like a more private corner of the venue, away from other guests. Now, here's the thing that's got everyone going crazy. The metadata on these photos, which some tech-savvy people on the internet managed to dig up before they were scrubbed, allegedly shows that these pictures were taken several months ago. This means that whatever was going on between Erika and JD Vance has been kept under wraps for a while now. Erika Kirk released a statement through her lawyer saying that the photos are being taken out of context and that she and JD Vance have a purely professional relationship. She claims they were at a political fundraising event and that the photos make an innocent interaction look inappropriate. But y'all, the internet ain't buying it, and people are demanding more answers. But hold up, because this story just took an even wilder turn. It's not just about the photos anymore. Sources close to the situation are now saying that Erika Kirk received multiple threatening messages before the photos were leaked, warning her that if she didn't distance herself from certain political circles, her private life would be exposed.
There were cameras all over my husband when he was murdered. There have been cameras all over my friends and family mourning. There have been cameras all over me, analyzing my every move, analyzing my every smile, my every tear.
Apparently, Erika thought these were just empty threats from internet trolls and ignored them. But whoever sent those messages wasn't playing around, because they followed through with their promise and released the photos to the public. Some people are speculating that this is politically motivated, possibly by people who want to damage JD Vance's reputation or create drama within his inner circle. And get this, there are rumors that Erika Kirk isn't the only person who had compromising photos taken at these private events. Multiple sources are whispering that there might be more photos involving other political figures that could surface any day now. If that's true, this scandal is about to get way bigger than just Erika and JD Vance.
Nothing to hide. I know there's not, because I've seen what the case is built on. Let everyone see what true evil is. Let everyone see and know how it happened.
Now let's talk about some of the crazy details that have emerged since this story broke. First of all, Erika Kirk has been scrubbing her social media accounts like crazy. She deleted over 50 posts from her Instagram in the past 48 hours, and people who follow her noticed that she removed any photos or mentions of political events she attended over the past year. Second, there's this interview that JD Vance did about 3 months ago, where a reporter asked him about his relationships with political consultants. At the time, nobody thought much of his answer, but now people are going back and rewatching that clip because his response seems super sketchy in hindsight.
It's a very, very tough situation. You have two enemies who fought a very tough conflict against each other. You have a terrorist organization on one hand that murdered a lot of innocent people.
Third, Erika Kirk's LinkedIn profile shows that she's worked on several high-profile political campaigns. And guess which campaign she was allegedly consulting for last year? Yup, she had connections to people in JD Vance's political circle. Small world, right? And here's something that'll blow your mind. A political blogger did some digging and found that Erika and JD Vance's schedules lined up at least 7 different times over the past 6 months, where they were both at the same events in the same cities. That's a lot of coincidences if you ask me. Now here's something that barely anyone is talking about, but we did some digging and found some information that's absolutely wild. There's a small political newsletter that only about 500 people subscribe to, and they published a blind item about 2 months ago that now seems to be about Erika and JD Vance. The blind item said something like, which rising political consultant has been getting a little too close to a major political figure? Sources say private dinners have become a regular thing, and it's only a matter of time before someone talks. At the time, nobody could figure out who it was about, but now that these photos have leaked, people are going back and connecting the dots. Also, there's allegedly a private WhatsApp group where political insiders share gossip, and apparently people in that group have been whispering about Erika Kirk and JD Vance's close friendship for months. One person who's in that group anonymously posted screenshots showing that several people warned Erika to be more careful about how she was perceived in public, but she reportedly brushed off their concerns. And here's the tea that nobody's reporting. Erika Kirk allegedly turned down multiple media interviews over the past week, which is super unusual for someone in her position. Usually, political consultants love getting media attention, but she's been completely silent except for that one statement from her lawyer. That tells me she's either really scared about what might come out next, or her legal team told her to shut up before she makes things worse. Remember earlier when we talked about who leaked these photos and why the timing was so suspicious? Well, we've got some theories and information that might answer those questions. Several political insiders are pointing fingers at rival political factions who might want to damage JD Vance's reputation. The theory is that someone who opposes his policies or political positions decided to go after people in his inner circle to create chaos and distraction. But there's another theory that's gaining traction. Some people think that someone close to Erika Kirk herself might have leaked the photos, possibly a former friend or colleague who felt betrayed or wanted revenge for something. There are whispers about a falling out between Erika and another political consultant a few months ago, and some people think that person might be behind the leak. And here's the wildest theory of all. Some conspiracy theorists online are saying that Erika Kirk leaked the photos herself to gain publicity and fame. They argue that negative attention is still attention, and she could potentially profit from this scandal through book deals or media appearances down the line. What we do know for sure is that law enforcement is allegedly looking into how these private photos were obtained and leaked, because if someone hacked into personal accounts or devices to get them, that could be a serious crime. So we might actually get answers about who's behind this sooner rather than later. Now, before we move forward, let me tell you something that's going to blow your mind. This isn't actually the first time Erika Kirk has been caught up in some messy drama. The girl has a history that most people don't know about, and now that she's back in the headlines, people are digging up all her old controversies, like receipts at a family reunion. Back in 2022, Erika Kirk was allegedly involved in a scandal with another political campaign, where she was accused of leaking confidential strategy documents to a rival campaign. The accusations never led to any legal action, but several people who worked on that campaign said they never trusted her again after that incident. One former colleague even posted on LinkedIn saying that Erika was ambitious to a fault and willing to cross lines that others wouldn't. That post got deleted real quick, but the internet remembers everything, honey. And it gets juicier. In 2023, there were whispers about Erika getting way too close to a married congressman at a political retreat in Colorado. Multiple attendees at that event posted cryptic messages on their private social media accounts about unprofessional behavior and inappropriate relationships. And while nobody named names publicly, people in those circles knew exactly who they were talking about. The congressman's wife allegedly confronted Erika at a fundraising gala a few months later, and sources say it got pretty heated before security stepped in. Talk about awkward.
But wait, there's more. Erika Kirk was also involved in a controversy involving campaign finances in early 2024. She was consulting for a local political candidate who later got investigated for misuse of campaign funds. While Erika wasn't directly accused of any wrongdoing, her name appeared in several financial documents that raised eyebrows. The candidate ended up dropping out of the race, and Erika quietly removed any mention of working on that campaign from her website and resume. Suspicious much? And here's something that really shows a pattern. Multiple people who've worked with Erika over the years have said she has a reputation for getting too friendly with powerful men in politics. One anonymous source told a political gossip blog last year that Erika sees relationships as networking opportunities and doesn't really understand boundaries. They said, Erika treats every interaction like a chess move. She's always calculating how someone can benefit her career. There's also this incident from 2021 that barely got any attention at the time, but it's resurfacing now. Erika allegedly sent some pretty flirty text messages to a campaign manager who was engaged, and when he rejected her advances and told his fiancé about it, Erika tried to spin the narrative saying he was the one pursuing her. The fiancé posted screenshots proving Erika was lying, but by the time that happened, Erika had already moved on to a different political circle and avoided most of the fallout. So when you look at all these past controversies together, a pattern starts to emerge. Erika Kirk has been walking a tightrope between ambitious networking and inappropriate behavior for years, and it seems like this JD Vance situation might finally be the scandal that she can't escape from. Because unlike her previous controversies that stayed within small political circles, this one went viral and reached millions of people worldwide. The question everyone's asking now is, was this scandal inevitable? Did Erika Kirk's pattern of questionable decisions finally catch up with her? And how many more skeletons are hiding in her closet that might come out now that people are looking closer? Y'all, something tells me we haven't seen the last of Erika Kirk's controversies, and this story is far from over. What do you think about this whole situation? Do you believe Erika and JD Vance's claims that this is all innocent and taken out of context? Or do you think there's more to the story than they're letting on? Drop your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this.